Welcome to Here and Now, my second podcast. My name is Rosalind Roberts, and I'm doing the podcast, like I've shared in the first one, to not only to promote my very first book, A Sacrifice of a Lifetime. This is like the 1997 version. I have updated it, but it even needs to be updated. To this day, it needs to be updated. But like I've shared before, because it's quite controversial, I felt as though to help promote it, it would be good to do a podcast. It would be good to do a podcast, and in reflection to the way some reacted to the book. And when I talk about, because I've shared about how some people have reacted to the book, right? And it wasn't particularly positive. Majority of people, the reaction has been good. They understand why I've written it. They understand it, and they haven't been judgmental in a negative way. Put it that way, yeah. To the point that there was a friend of mine, or somebody sort of that I knew, and there was a time where this was a few years back, where for some reason she mentioned about. I would say it was a situation in the book she was reflecting upon. She didn't mention the book, but she called me a derogative word, right? And which wasn't nice. And then about 3 weeks later, I saw her and she apologized, saying, "Oh, I'm really sorry. It's because I wasn't feeling all that well, so on and so forth." Right? And I forgave her, right? And then 8 to 10 years down the road, 8 to 10 years later, should I say, she hasn't been particularly happy about something, and she's called me the same thing but worse. And it was because of her reading the book. That's what she's picked up on. And then somebody else also mentioned something about the book and so on and so forth. It was negative. And then I had a woman who sent me the second and third part of the book, because as I explained in the first podcast, how I said in the first part, and then I'd sell the second and third part together. So she sent me the second and third part back, saying, "I don't read books like that." Excuse me, but it would help if she could read to the end to see how everything turned around. Excuse me, because what I've done, I've introduced the reader to my life, because it's a reflection of certain things that I went through from birth up to the age of my early 30s. But there's something that happened at the age of 21, which is the controversial bit. So you have to read onwards to see what happens. But it's like, it felt as though she got to that particular stage and then said, "I don't read books like that," So that's one of the reasons why I'm choosing to do a podcast, so I can basically talk about it. We can reflect on certain issues that are raised and so on and so forth. From time to time, I have a guest come in that will be able to talk about issues in relation to certain subjects in the book, or it could be just sensitive issues, So the whole podcast isn't only going to be in relation to this book, because obviously we're going to eventually get to the end of it. It's like, then what do I talk about? Do you know what I mean? But you'll see the direction it's going in anyway. And so it's really exciting anyway. It's really exciting to be here and to be doing my second podcast, Yeah, so basically, I shared about in the first podcast how I did go to publishers, like if you're a writer, that's what you do, right? And you get your rejections. And then he was like a publisher stroke agent, said, he thought about publishing the book, but decided not to. I said, "No problem, I'm going to self-publish." And then he tried to tell me, no, I wouldn't be able to do it. And then I said, no, I would. When the book came out, eventually I put the whole book together and I sent him a copy. There you go. Although it was his secretary that helped me type it up, and he got someone to help me edit it, the editing's not very good. It's not very good. And also with my first book, Taffy How, it's not very good. The time, and I laugh about it, it's not funny, because at the time, and I'll share about that at the time, what I was going through at the time, it was like, I just need to get this book written, typed up in a book format so I can sell it. Even though there was a lot of work that needed to be done. That's why with Taffy How, I've done a lot of updated versions. Recently, I've done another updated version, you know, and I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy with that one as well. I'm quite happy with that one, yeah. So, and then my background is sales and marketing. So basically, before I got my book self-published, I used to go to a writer's circle once a month, and they used to have a guest speaker come in. And I remember this particular guest speaker was a historian, and he shared about how he got his book published, self-published for £1,000, and that just stuck with me. So when I was looking for publishers, that's why I came out with, I'm going to self-publish. And the way that I did it was I typed up the first chapter, and at the time I had chosen to do this, to distribute a catalogue. And what you do, you distribute the catalogue, you leave a note in there with an order and letting them people know when you're going to come pick the book up. It could be tomorrow, the next day, or the day after. You go back, pick the catalogue up, and then you should have some orders in there, and then you tell them when the order's going to be due, probably in about 2-3 weeks, and then you deliver and they pay you, and then you get a commission from that. So what happened was the coordinator that was organising this, when she told me the area I was going to do, there's one particular area she laughed at, and I'm like, why are you laughing? She said that was a really bad area because the person that was doing that area was so unreliable, and she laughed. But you know what? That area that she told me that was really, really bad, that was my best area. I used to sell a lot because I was very consistent, very reliable, very chatty. So I was doing that, and I began to see that I've got quite a rapport with people. I can communicate quite well with people, So what I decided to do was get the first chapter typed up, put it in a nice folder, and explain to my customers that I'm trying to self-publish the book. Would you like to read the first chapter? If you like what you read, would you like to buy the book in advance for £5? And I was finding 8 out of 10 of my customers were saying yes. And then I looked at it and I said, well, I've got 5 customers on one road. Why don't I just go to everybody on the roads? So I started going to everybody. And again, I was finding, I would say about 7 out of 10 people were saying yes. So I basically raised up roughly about £2,500. I think it was £2,500, either £1,500 or £2,500 in 6 months. I think it was £2,500. And then what I did was I went to my coordinator and I said that, because I'd been doing that catalogue for about 2 to 3 years, maybe 4. And I just said that, I've decided that I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to focus on turning my hobby into business now. And she said, how are you going to do it? And I said, well, I'm going to be canvassing. And she said, oh, it's just like doing the catalogue. And I said, it's not really like doing the catalogue. I don't know if I said it, but it's not really like doing the catalogue. I think I did. No, because with the catalogue, you had to deliver them, leave a note, pick them up the next day or the day after, right? And then 2 or 3 weeks later, I'd have these big bags. You go and drop the orders off to people. And then if people aren't in, you'd have to go back again. So it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. And since then, that's what I've been doing, and because my background is sales and marketing anyway. And I remember the last office that I worked in, you got a basic, but you had to bring X amount in each month. And if you didn't the first month, you'd get a warning. And then if you didn't that month, you'd get a written warning. And if you didn't that month, you'd be asked to leave. And luckily, I was bringing in what I was supposed to bring in each month. So sales and marketing was my thing, and even if I was looking for work, I would always sort of be drifted to, or always looking at the sales and marketing roles. Because I just love the communication I just love communicating with different people from different backgrounds, and the challenge of, selling something. If I believe in something, I can sell it. And I also knew that if you work hard, you do well. So what I did is I just used, my experience, and then just basically turned my hobby into a business, and that's what I've been doing since. Um, yeah, so recently there are different ways how I've been selling the book as well, and I am trying to sort of like go more in the direction whereby it's selling itself. But again, that takes a lot of time, marketing, and so on and so forth. But I'll get there eventually. I'll get there definitely. So yeah, I will get there. So it's all good. It's all good. So basically, this is the book, the part one that I was selling. What I did was I managed to put the first, second, and third part together, and this was, again, it's very basic. It's very basic, and one of my friends did the cover for me, and that's the thickness of it. Basically, while growing up, we had a mirror in our hallway, and it had a bronze outline with leaves going round it. And I remember when I was moving, I told the cabman, "Be careful with that, because that's like a family heirloom." And he went, "No, you carry it then." But we've had it in our bathroom for years. And so I wanted something that would reflect, how can I say, how a mirror reflects how you reflect. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but you know what I'm talking about. I wanted something that was going to reflect. When you looked into the mirror, you could sort of see a reflection of your life, if you know what I mean. Meaning that, no one's perfect. And if you are, why are you so judgmental? So that's why with this image here, this is the mirror. This is the mirror, And can you see that all around? It's very beautiful. It's in bronze. Very, very, very lovely mirror, yeah. So, and that's what I wanted to go on there for a sacrifice of a lifetime. And the reason why I chose a sacrifice of a lifetime is because it is based on my own personal experience. And the reason why I'm sharing is because I feel like it's going to be very beneficial to others. But when people have read it, some people who have read it have basically come out, with, something negative. And I remember somebody else, when I shared, and I very rarely will share about what it's actually about, because I know how some people can react, right? And I've mentioned it, and they've turned around and said, "Well, yeah, it hasn't happened to me." Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's why I'm doing the podcast, so we can talk and we can share. I'm really, I just like, again, I'm like, whoa, I can't believe I'm actually doing it, to be honest. I can't believe I'm doing it, but I am, and it's exciting. I'm excited about it. So 2025, it would be lovely to see. It would be lovely, either this time next year or before, to be holding up a new version of a sacrifice of a lifetime. That would be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It really would. But we'll see what happens. I've got ideas for other books as well, that I want to work on as well. I've got ideas. I've got an idea for 2 children's books. And I've actually worked on children's books and put together some illustrations. But then I've got another idea, and the other idea, I'm more passionate about the other one, but I haven't started the illustrations, but I know what the storyline's going to be. So I'm excited about that. And then I want to put together part 2 for Taffy Howe, and then put the 2 together. So the book is a bit thicker than, it is now. And then obviously, I want to work on this book, A Sacrifice of a Lifetime. And so I'm really excited. I'm really excited about it. And, I'm grateful for people out there that have really supported me. Really am grateful all the different areas and locations that I've been to. I've met different people from different backgrounds. Some people have given me advice and guidance. Some people have helped. Some people are still friends from years back. It's just really, really encouraging. It really, really is. So I look forward to speaking to you in the next podcast. Take care. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.